Welcome back to the NWR Virtual Healthcare Conference. We've got Radiopharm Theranostics up next, and it's the COO from the company, Vittorio Puppo. We heard a lot yesterday about how much buzz there's been around the radiopharmaceutical space, so a few people are really looking forward to hearing from Vittorio. Radiopharm is a clinical stage company developing a world-class platform of innovative radiopharmaceutical products for diagnostics and therapeutics in areas of high unmet medical need. The pipeline's been built around, on potential to be first to market or best in class. The clinical program for Radiopharm includes 1 phase 2 and 2 phase 1 trials in a variety of solid tumour cancers, including lung, pancreas and brain cancer. Just a reminder again, if you have a question you'd like to submit throughout the presentation, please feel free to type it in using the Q&A panel within Zoom. But I'll hand it over to Vittorio.
Thank you very much, Matt, and thanks everyone for taking the time and hearing a little bit from us at Radiopharm Theranostics. Like Matt said, my name is Vittorio Puppo. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the company. I've been with RAD, just under a couple of years. So we'll start with the, typical disclaimer, and then moving into a little bit of who we are and what we stand for. I'll start by saying, Matt alluded to that, pipeline of interesting novel candidates. At this point in time, we have 2 imaging clinical stage program. One is completed phase 2A, and the other one is in phase 1. We've got 1 therapeutic clinical stage program started currently in phase 1. We've got a platform of molecules in late stage preclinical, which are like, something between 6 to 12 months away from starting a phase 1 study. And in terms of our pipeline, our portfolio, we have a group of products of very well differentiated molecules leveraging, the different compounds. We've got peptides, single domain monoclonal antibodies, full antibodies in solid tumors. And we stayed away from the most crowded areas in radiopharmaceuticals. We're mentioning here PSMA, SSTR2, FAPI, where a lot of the companies in this space have been focusing. So we're pursued the strategy of highly unmet clinical needs with the goal of being first, the best in class with what we have. In terms of how we build this portfolio, the molecules we're working on have all been licensed from top universities. Here we're highlighting some: Imperial College in London, UCLA, we've got the Munich group, and the Anderson. So all were very high level, high caliber academic universities. I want to point out we've got a very interesting program running. It's a joint venture with the MD Anderson Cancer Center, where RAD is a majority stake, and the other partner is indeed MD Anderson. We're developing with them 4 proprietary novel technologies for use in radiopharmaceutical. If you look at the team, all of our team members have a previously deep experience in imaging or therapeutic radiopharm. We've got an extensive, very solid scientific advisory board, multinational researchers giving us good guidance and advice on developing our program. In terms of who we are as a company, we started our operations in mid-2021. We went public at the end of 2021 on the ASX. We raised approximately $84 million to date, and of which 50 came at the IPO at the end of 2021. Being a radiopharm is very important to have a strong supply when it comes to isotopes. Here, we're touching upon a few, only the therapeutic isotopes. We've got some programs running on lutetium. We've got solid agreement in place for all the isotopes we're working with the key vendors, key suppliers of the different isotopes. So lutetium, we work with Shine, Isotopia, ANSTO for Australia. Terbium-161, we've got a collaboration with Tertera out of the Netherlands. Actinium-225, we work with Northstar and TerraPower. So, and I think that's very important. Make sure that we have solid access and even backup whenever possible for the key isotope we're going to use for the development of our products. Just a quick look at the team. The company has been started and is chaired by Paul Hopper. Paul Hopper has got 25 experience of a successful life science entrepreneur. Has done about 15 companies in the US, Australia, and Asia, and he now is on the board of Imaging, Chimeric Therapeutic, Viralytics, that was in the past, and Arobel is now. So it's done really a number of successful companies. Some at Exeter, some is sitting on the board and chairing the board. Our CEO is Riccardo Canevari. Riccardo was the CEO pretty much from the start, September 2021. He comes from Novartis. He covered a variety of roles. His last experience was in radiopharmaceutical in the AAA branch, where he was Chief Commercial Officer. And previous to that, he was SVP for the breast cancer franchise. My name is Vittorio. Introduce myself. My background is primarily in imaging. I worked in a variety of companies in the imaging field. My most recent experience with the Bracco Imaging, we're leader in the diagnostics around the North American operation, global marketing. And prior to that, I managed business in Europe, Asia for Accurate, Covid, and Mallinckrodt, Amish, and other companies. Shireen Safadi is our VP for Medical Affairs. She comes from Point Biopharma. Before that, she was medical director at Bayer, director of medical affairs at Bayer. Bimal Patel is heading VP for CMC. He is responsible for all the CMC activities. He comes from Aurum Therapeutics. He had strong experience, successful manufacture of 2 ADCs. He comes also from the industry. He was at Actinium before he was at Progenics, and he comes to, like I said, with a lot of experience of conjugated antibodies and radiopharmaceuticals. I want to move in walking you through our company pipeline. So the first products I'm going to talk to are the classic Theranostics pair, where with the same molecules we're developing an imaging compound and the therapeutic product. So the first two, what we call RAD301 and RAD302. So the targeted molecule is integrin alpha V beta 6. It's a peptide where the indication is going to be pancreatic cancer. We use as isotope gallium-68 for imaging and lutetium for therapeutic. The imaging agent, we got an ongoing trial. The phase 1 study started in the United States. We're enrolling patient. We've also got an orphan drug designation. Very interesting. So that's an active program, one of our most promising, most advanced program. The therapeutic product, the therapeutic pair product that will work with the same target. We are working on the preclinical package. We're completing that this year, and we're moving also on CMC. So it's a little behind, the imaging, which is already in the clinic, but not much behind. So we'll be following soon with the therapeutic development. The next pair is called Pivalate. The target is a fatty acid oxidation, small molecule. The indication of this product is brain metastasis. We have an imaging product which is labeled with F18 as an isotope. We have completed phase 2A. We've got an IND preparation for the phase 2B for a multi-center trial in the United States. We believe it's going to be approximately 30 patients. We're also working on the development of the therapeutic agent. The isotope is going to be iodine. And this work is going on in London at the Imperial College in terms of completing candidate selection. The last products of the bottom section of this slide, the product that I'm presenting here, the bottom 3 are therapeutic products. The first two, RAD204 and RAD202, are nanobodies, single domain nanobodies. RAD204, the target is PD-L1. It's going to attack non-small cell lung cancer, therapeutic with lutetium as an isotope. The trial is active, and the phase 1 trial is active, and we're enrolling patients in Australia. The second nanobody, 202, HER2 is the target for breast, primarily gastric cancers. It's also, like I said, a therapeutic product with lutetium. We completed all the preclinical and CMC work, and we're planning to start phase 1 trial in the second half towards the end of 2024. Last on this page here, what we call RB01, B7H3. This is the product that has been developed in the JV with MD Anderson, what we call Radiopharm Ventures. So the preclinical package will be completed in late 2024. The indication is going to be, multiple, prostate, liver, pancreas, and colon. We're working on those. So as you can see, there are 2 payers, imaging and therapeutics, and 3 products where we're taking an initial approach on a therapy focus. More into some of the priorities. So I want to talk a little more, expand on integrin alpha B beta 6. So, like I said, it is a peptide. The imaging technology is impact, and what we're working is really trying to detect and monitor pancreatic cancer metastasis. So the current standard of care, which is MR, is a different modality, and nuclear medicine with FTG, have significant limitations, as you're going to see in a second. Where we are with that right now, there has been extensive use of this product. About 66 patients have already been dosed in Germany under compassionate use, and up to now, we've got no drug-related adverse event being reported. Another 33 patients have been dosed under investigation-initiated trial research with a poster presented at the ENM last year in India. We started in the US, the FDA has granted IND. We started the phase 1 study. In terms of regulatory strategy going forward, the plan is to leverage on the real-world evidence. I mentioned the 66 and the 33 patients, and possibly after completion of the phase 1 study, seek to go straight into a registrational trial. We've done some market research, others have done too. We've got some independent report. Bill Potter has generated an independent report that estimate annual peak sales in the range of $240 million for imaging PDAC alone. So it's a interesting field. In terms of other potential competitors, there is only one developed by UC Davis. They're also in phase 1. Is another integrin alpha beta 6, alpha B1. So that's where we're at, with this agent. Just to say a few more things on it, So this is the German work, the 66 patients that have been administered this product. 60 were pancreatic cancer, 5 had head and neck cancer, and 1 patient had tumor of unknown origin. And what the trial analyzed, the selected detection of alpha beta 6 integrin expressed in tumor lesion in patients with PDAC. And we got, very good clinical results. We got good pictures, and as you can see here, published information with low background accumulation and good renal excretion. The Indian work was interesting too. This is 33 patients done at Fortis in India, and it was a comparison with FAT and FTG. Trivahexin showed superior resolution compared to FTG. We got some pictures. There was a poster presented at the Theranostics Congress in 2022. The pictures on the left, here are with the gallium trivahexin, and the pictures on the right are with F18, and one can see much superior resolution and showing lesion with gallium trivahexin. When we look at the opportunity, we've done an analysis, look at the cases per annum. It's about, in the US alone, it's about, 124,000 new cases. And this translates in what we believe in, that's the Bell Potter analysis, a business opportunity at peak sales in the range of $240 million US dollars. The RAD-2, the therapeutic pair labeled with lutetium, where we stand on this program, the GMP peptide production is ongoing. The GLP tox and biodistribution study, all the preclinical work are planned for 2024. Those shouldn't take long. We want to submit an IND in the United States in the second half of the year. And with that, the plan would go to move quickly into a phase 1 study with dose escalation basket trial with multiple indication. So that's the integrin program. Next is what we call RAD101 pivalate fatty acid oxidation. That's also a pair imaging and therapy looking at brain metastasis. So what that molecule does is selectively target fatty acid synthetase, which is overexpressed in tumors, but not in normal brain cells. So this is a significant, a sizable disease. There are, about 300,000 new patients every year with brain metastasis coming from different tumor types. MRI works, it's the current standard of care, but has got some limitation in post-surgery and post-stereotactic radiation. And that's a target, and what we'll do with imaging and therapy. We're developing it. We're in candidate selection and looking at the best isotope, also based on chemical stability. Where we stand on the imaging agent, we're completed in the UK phase 1 and phase 2A. We're getting ready to start phase 2B in the US, so we're pretty much done with the tech transfer to US site. We should get IND approval shortly after having finalized the tech transfer, so we're talking probably this next 60, 90 days. We've got an independent report estimated peak sales at $364 million US. And here there is one expected competitor ahead of us. Is in phase 3. Is a product called Axumin by Blue Earth Bracco with similar indication. So this is a result of the phase 2 study, what it did and what it showed. So the trial analyzed the uptake, the F18 pivalate uptake in cerebral metastasis, and then we looked at the impact of SRS, stereotactic radiosurgery, on the F18 uptake at the various points, early time points, 4 to 8 weeks, and 2 cohort of patients. And what the trial demonstrated was a very good uptake and the use to detect and monitor cerebral metastasis. So patients that had previously been treated showed the trend towards lower uptake. Patients without external beam showed very strong, higher tumor uptake, but good pictures and clear detection of the brain metastasis. In terms of the opportunity here, like I said, there is a significant number of patient and new cases per annum in the range of 300,000, and the Jones Group analyst report estimated peak revenues about 364 million US. Moving on to the therapeutic products, first I'm going to talk about is PD-L1 nanobody. So the imaging agent has been licensed to Lantheus. Lantheus has a worldwide right with the exclusion of China, which, the rights for China stayed with RAD. And there is a phase 2 imaging study ongoing on non-small cell lung cancer. The product is labeled for imaging with the technetium 99. There is a good dialogue, and there is an agreement for data sharing between ourselves and Lantheus, which means that we'll have access to anything that has been generated to support our study. In terms of where we stand here, we believe that so the focus on therapy, there are approximately 200,000 new patients with non-small cell lung cancer every year in the United States. 70% of those patients are refractory to checkpoint inhibitors. So there is a strong potential for a combination and to be a preferred combination partner using our product with checkpoint inhibitors to overcome, ICI resistance. That's where we stand on it. In terms of clinical development, we have demonstrated human pharmacokinetic and distribution. It's been validated with the imaging agent. We started the phase 1 study, therapeutic study, which is a dose escalation study run in Australia. It just started in Q1. We believe that the next phase, phase 2, could be a combination trial with a checkpoint inhibitor. Important to be noticed here that there is no other PD-L1 target radiopharmaceutical currently in preclinical or clinical development. Next is RAD202 is another nanobody, is targeting HER2. We've got a technetium-99 imaging agent available, a selection biomarker, and the phase 1 imaging study confirmed biodistribution dosimetry. In terms of therapy approach, the patient with HER2-positive breast or gastroesophageal tumors is what we're targeting, thinking about third-line treatment for the metastatic disease. So where we stand again, the pharmacokinetics by distribution has been proven with the imaging agent. Phase 1 study, about 10 patients, 3 years ago. We got investigator-initiated studies in Germany, a few additional patients. We're ready in terms of the preclinical and CMC package. And so we're planning to start also in Australia in the second half of 2024, a phase 1 study for dose escalation. It's a very large population, the HER2 metastatic breast cancer, just looking at the second-line therapy, where they stand, expected peak sales of HER2 about 12 billion. And if we think that, as a second-line therapy, if we think about, third line, that's where we will position ourselves. And you can see our agent there. From ourselves, there is another company, Pre-Six, in this space. I'm sorry, I forgot to say the total addressable market post-ADC is estimated at $4 billion. And like I said, there are only 2 agents under development, to cover that space, the post-ADC space. Last product I'm going to talk about is what has been generated by the collaboration with MD Anderson. The target is B7H3. There is an array of solid tumors that we can go after, prostate being the most promising one, pancreatic, hepatocellular carcinoma, colorectal, breast, and others. So we're working, right now on the preclinical CMC, and we're planning to start phase 1 in the early part of next year, 2025. So that's where we stand in terms of the clinical strategy. Like I mentioned, we've got, the CMC production going. We're going to have, the GMP batch available later in the year, around Q3. But at the same time, we'll do the GLP tox and biodistribution studies to be ready to start a phase 1 trial in the early part, first half of next year. I'll just skip this. So this is just to give you at least a visual sense of how busy the prostate space is. So start to the left, androgen therapies, PARP, there is several products on the market. And then if you look at the PSMA, which is probably the most widely developed, target for radiopharmaceuticals, there are, I stopped counting, like, more than a dozen products with different isotope, lutetium, lead, actinium, copper, various astatine, all PSMA. So they're going to be different, but they're, greatly level of overlap. We're working on a new mechanism of action with B7H3. We're looking at Microgenics has got the most advanced B7H3 ADC in development. And then when we look at radiopharmaceutical, our product is the one and only B7H3 radiopharmaceutical currently under development. I'll pause here. We've got, I'll just mention the preclinical pipeline. We've got, more assets in our portfolio. A monoclonal antibody targeting, KLK3, potential indication in prostate in therapy. We've got, GMP production ongoing. Then we've got the LLR C15 for osteosarcoma. It's also a very promising monoclonal antibody. The isotope should be terbium-161 for both. Orphan drug designation has been granted, the rare pediatric disease. And last, we've got, one more nanobody, very interesting, TROP2 for triple negative breast cancer and non-small cell lung cancer. And the isotope should be actinium-225. So that's pretty much of a snapshot of the company portfolio. With that, Matt, I would pause and not sure if there is any question on what we said.
Thanks, Vittorio. You've got a few minutes for questions. Just to remind everyone again, if you have one you'd like to submit, please feel free to type it in within Zoom. Vittorio, you've touched on it briefly, and I mentioned at the start, there's been a lot of developments recently in the radiopharmaceutical sector, including, I think just in the last couple of days, AstraZeneca's takeover of Fusion. I mean, from a Radiopharm perspective and what you're doing at RAD, what are the takeaways from that you think can help RAD moving forward?
Well, thank you, Matt. I think in the last 90 days, Lilly, BMS, and yesterday AstraZeneca have invested billions of dollars, literally, in acquiring, assets and companies in radiopharmaceuticals. So I think that, at this point, the radiopharmaceutical space has been assessed by Big Pharma as one of the most promising, technology sciences field to treat solid tumors. That's extremely encouraging. You remember that Novartis was the first large pharmaceutical company to make that step, and they were the first to invest a few years ago. The science has progressed greatly in those few years, and now I think it's very encouraging for all of us to see that major companies are putting significant dollars and really investing heavily and counting on what radiopharmaceutical can develop. As far as we're concerned, we're very proud and very happy with our portfolio. Like we said at the beginning, it's a differentiated portfolio. We don't have PSMA, we don't have FAPI. There is a lot that the nuclear science can offer, and we think that our products, both as imaging agents, the two that we're developing, and therapy agents, have got very large market potential.
Thank you. And when it comes to the view of those sort of big pharma players, how do they view the significance of diagnostics as opposed to therapeutics? Is there a preference, or do they see one as a sort of gateway to the other?
I think that the focus of Big Pharma is definitely therapy. If you look at the companies who are most successfully marketing imaging agents, those are like companies with an imaging focus. I'm thinking of Lantheus first. They're the most successful. Telix has done very well. Telix have also got a therapeutic pipeline, but on the market right now they have an imaging agent. Blue Earth, Bracco is also an imaging company. So I think that there is going to be probably some kind of demarcation. So the imaging players will probably do most of the heavy lifting and marketing of the imaging agent, and Big Pharma will focus on therapy.
And you've spoken a lot about the different assets, and there's obviously a large portfolio, and some of those have sort of been put forward and others have been deprioritized. I mean, are you looking to potentially partner some of those other programs to sort of get them adequately funded to progress them?
We're open to everything. At this point, certainly we've got a very large portfolio. We want to generate value with the asset that we license, so we probably need to take them along the way in terms of some stages of development to show that they work, that they can be good for human beings. So at this point, I think that we'll be open to entertain a conversation if anyone was interested in those assets. I think we'll probably try to keep as much as possible the therapy products, which I think is where most of the value is, and we'll see what happens with the imaging agents.
Very good. Well, that wraps up the 30 minutes, Vittorio, right on time. So thanks very much for your presentation and for everyone's interest. We'll look forward to watching RAD moving forward. In about 10 minutes, we'll be back with the next presentation, which will be from Neurotech International. So thanks again, Vittorio, for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Thank you very much. Have a good day.